Thank you for coming. I'm Elisa Hansen, Maven of the Eventide, and I'm very happy to be here with you hosting this panel about genre fiction, urban fantasy, focusing on the work of two authors in particular. First one is Raven Belasco. Raven, come join us, please. And the next one is author, actor, and audiobook narrator Amber Benson. Amber, who narrates the audiobooks of Raven's novels.
I'm a lucky author.
So, genre fiction, first of all, tell us about your individual book series, your book series and your two book series, and where they fit in the genre.
So a tiny little question there.
In brief, you've got 45 seconds. No.
So I write the Blood and Ancient Scrolls series. I know some of you out there are already readers. And it is a series about a librarian who accidentally, basically through horniness, ends up in the world of the Amor, which is in the vampire language of my universe, their name for themselves. And then a lot of shit goes down. Oh, can I swear on this panel?
I mean, I'm going to. So.
Oh, all right, good. So yeah, things blow up, things get set on fire, vampires get set on fire, and it's just a rollicking good time, unless you're set on fire.
And your two series?
Oh, I wrote a couple of series for Penguin Random House. Well, they were Penguin. It was Penguin. Now it's Random Penguin. But one was called Death's Daughter. It's about a girl whose dad is death, and she has to run the company when he gets kidnapped. And another one is called The Witches of Echo Park, about a group of disparate women who come together as a coven to sort of protect the world. But they live in Echo Park here in Los Angeles, you know, as one does. So, yeah.
So we've got vampires, witches, grim reapers, or corporate reapers, but a bunch of other mythological creatures as well. A lot of fantasy, supernatural kitchen sink things going on. On my show, Vampire Reviews, we talk about how vampires serve as social metaphors for the human condition, how monsters represent things going on in our real world, and how we can use genre fiction to speak to political issues, social issues, things that are true to humans through monsters, not just vampires, but witches and everything else too. So what do the Amor, the vampires in your series, represent?
I don't think I could write vampires without using them as a dark mirror for humanity. It's unavoidable for me. So anything that is dark and unexplored in the human psyche, that is fair ground for me to play with in these books. But there's also a lot of darker things that have happened over history, and that is also, especially since vampires have that nice lifespan, it gives me a chance to look at historical events through a completely different lens, and I really love the ability to play with that.
You do so much research for those books. Not only are they like a naughty, yummy fest, which I highly recommend you get them, and then also get the audiobooks, because I will say naughty things to you in foreign languages if you get them.
She'll whisper sweet nothings into your ear in multiple languages.
It's true. I've learned to say things in Turkish that would make a woman lesser than me blush. But what I also love about the books is there's a historical connotation. There are characters that come out of history that you find out, oh, maybe they're connected to the Amor, to the vampires. It's almost like a historical novel mixed with erotica and horror, and it's just kind of got a little bit of everything, what I love about the books. So I take my hat off to you. The historical research is hard. You spend a lot of time. And then all the languages, like, I don't know how you do that. Like, I'm just hat off.
Well, that's really a pleasure for me. Like that, throwing those in, that's just a joy. And I'm so glad that you wanted to take that on, because I mean that is not easy. Like just having foreign languages you never thought you'd be speaking just tossed at you, and you're just put this in the audiobook.
Catalan Spanish. Do the accent and speak it in a man's voice.
while being very angry and yelling.
And maybe also having intercourse.
And make it sound different from the other guy who did the exact same thing last chapter.
He was a different type of Spanish, so it was a slightly different accent.
It's so much fun.
Did we answer that question fully?
Sorry,
Now
I
it's
went off the
Amber's
rails. I was out protesting and sweating, and I'm yeah. And now I'm at Torrance High School. This is so bananas. I never really got to do anything here, so I was college.
You're making up for lost time now.
Yeah, I'm back.
So the monsters in your book, or the supernatural creatures, even the good ones, what are some of the things that you've used them to represent?
Oh, man. Well, I love mythology, so I'm always, and I know you do too, I think that's something we connect on, is I'm always like, how do I use mythological characters to sort of enhance, and there's a thematic sort of component that goes along with using mythology in your text. But as far as like specifically like what do witches represent? I mean, for me it's the idea that like, you know, the female body is very much like it's how life is brought into the universe, right? And the earth is like the female body, and it's how, you know, we have to protect this sort of like life-giving thing that we live on. So I think the witches, you know, being part of like that sort of Mother Earth Gaia thing and protecting that is really important. And I think it's something that we deal with in our lives with climate change and the fact that, like, you know, fires and floods and all this stuff. I mean, to me it seems very prescient and of the moment.
But with your Death Daughters series, I mean, you said that I did research, but you clearly did your research.
Yeah, I didn't do any historical research, but I did a lot of mythology.
With like every single deity ever in it.
Yeah. Well, I just was like, because I love the idea, and maybe this appeals to you guys as well, this idea that, like, you know, everyone's got their religious preference, but I like to think that we live in a world where all of them can coexist. So in my mythology of my books, bye, everybody. I know we're getting boring. We started out funny, and then we went to mythology.
Yeah, we were gone deep, and
now it's like, wait, what was she signing pictures now? But yeah, I like to think we live in a universe where all religions could exist, and so if death has every religious, you know, sort of like god or goddess, like then I had to do a lot of research because there's a ton of them. Every religion has their own version of everything.
And they all got to play together.
Yes.
Speaking of the female body, you both write these female-led books with female protagonists, and we all know how hard that is. Like, I forget who said it, but they were like, oh, have Harry Dresden say something and people think he's badass, but if a female protagonist says it, she's a bitch. So when you were crafting your female protagonists in your book, what was important to you that you wanted to make sure that you did for your characters? And I'm not necessarily saying to make them likable or anything, because, you know, that's bullshit. But what was it that you really wanted for your female characters that was important to you?
With Noosh, I just wanted her to be a librarian that went out and kicked ass. Like that, you know, to have the element of, you know, loving knowledge and using that as a weapon, as well as, you know, stakes or flamethrowers. That was really important, to just have her be a big old nerd, but then also kick ass. But for likable, I have a character named Astria, and I wrote her not to be likable. Noosh has interactions with her and doesn't enjoy herself some of the time. And she's one of everyone's favorite characters. It turned out that writing an unlikable woman, she's still kick-ass, and she's strong, and she doesn't care what you think about her, and that's actually vaulted her up to being one of the readers' favorites.
No, it's funny that, like, you know, Buffy was how long ago? 20 plus years ago? 25 plus years ago? We won't go there. But that was the conversation we were having then. Like, how do you do a female protagonist who is likable but also is human and makes mistakes and is not likable sometimes, makes choices that people don't like. And the sad thing is that we're still discussing it all these years later. This idea that, like, we've got parity with, like, female and male protagonists, and, you know, we're not even there yet, which is kind of a bummer. I was hoping we'd be further along in that. That we wouldn't need to talk about, like, well, why can't your character be more likable? Well, because she's like me, and sometimes I'm likable, and sometimes if I don't have my coffee in the morning, I want to tear people's heads off. Like,
are you suggesting that females are human?
No. Raven, what's wrong with you? Are you insane? Oh my God. But how do I just write the characters that I want to read. I feel like that's the best thing I can do, because, like, I'm never going to do something that everybody's going to love. I can only please myself, right? Like, in life, like, as human beings, we can only go out into the world and do the things that we can do. And you know, and if that means some people are unhappy with it, then that's just the nature of being human. And it's the same with being a writer. But if I write something that I want to read, then at least I'm excited about it when I read it again.
Speaking of things you want to read, one of the best advice that I ever heard, and I repeat to other aspiring authors, is to write the book that you always want to read but you can't find anywhere. So when it comes to your influences for what inspired you to write your books, instead of just the things that obviously that exist that do inspire you, what didn't exist that inspired you? And also, second part of this question, since we're at a Buffy convention, was Buffy at any way part of any of your influences?
I don't think that anybody working with vampires post-Buffy cannot have some influence. Like, it was such a huge cultural phenomenon.
I guess the question should be how.
Yeah, how, and not if. I definitely, like, Noosh has a lot of quips, in hard times. And there's no way that the quipage on Buffy did not impact me. I just have to, give credit for that. You could see a gal kicking ass and then making a joke about it. That's powerful. And so, that worked its way in for sure. What was the first part of the question?
What drove you to write your book that you weren't getting from anywhere else, which is why it needed to be written?
Yeah, there was a lot of writing. Like, if vampires were international, they were like French. Like, there was not, like, if vampires are real, then they're all over the world. And, there's all these books where the vampires are all just American, or, there's like one French guy, and, oh, mon ami, and he's the love interest. And I just wanted to have an international cast. I wanted to show a global world of vampires. And I wanted to explore, how different cultures impacted, being a vampire in the world, and how they would all get along together as vampires, which ended up becoming that they had their own vampire society, and that as you left the living human world, you ended up in your own disparate society. So that was, I guess, something that happened as I was writing. But that was something also that I hadn't really seen as much of. So yeah, I love vampires. I deeply love the myths and deep history of vampires and vampirism. And I just wanted to just play with stuff that hadn't been played with yet.
Yeah, I think like Raven said, Buffy is an iconic show that kind of changed the sort of face of the vampire myth. But it's so good at the campy. I mean, I think that was one of the best things about the show, is that it walked that line of, yeah, it could be silly and campy and quippy, but then there would be all this emotion and heart. Like if you watch the episode The Body, I mean that is, when we made it, it was gut-wrenching, and when you watch it, it is gut-wrenching. It's so intense. And so to be able to walk that line, that tone, is really incredible. So yeah, I think if you're going to write something in the vampire genre, you're in the world, in the pop culture world at all, then you have been, exposed to Buffy, and it can't help but like inform how you move forward.
What about your other influences that drove you to write the 2 series that you wrote that made you want to fill those voids in the literary world?
I just wrote stuff that seemed fun. I wasn't thinking in terms of, oh, there's not this. I feel like there's so much stuff in like witches and death, and there's a ton of stuff in that arena. And I was just like, well, I'm going to put my own spin on that, and I want to write something that's, for the Death's Daughter series, it's silly and fun, and then for the witches, a little bit deeper. But I don't think there was a lack that I saw that I was trying to fill. I think it was just that I love reading that stuff. I love fantasy, I love sci-fi, I love dark horror, and I just wanted to play in that sandbox and kill people.
Yeah, we both want to kill a lot of people.
It's funny, the people that write the darkest stuff are like the nicest humans. I feel like they get it all out on the page. And then it's like, oh, look at you in your pink eyes-on shirt.
Well, I think both of those things tie together. Your silliness, like in the Calliope series, and the quippiness of Buffy together, bringing that to a series of, or to a genre of Grim Reaper novels, or of the new person now has to become Death and take over Death Inc.
Well, it's like this idea of the hero's journey, which is a very like basic thing in storytelling. This idea that the hero is called to action, the hero doesn't want to go, and the hero is kind of forced into like accepting the quest. And I guess in terms of like what's missing, I feel like there wasn't a ton of women being called on the journey. And I think that's maybe something all 3 of us want to address, is like, well, women can go on quests. I like a good quest. Let's Xena it up in here, you know what I mean?
And in Calliope's story, she's going up against a man who's doing the same thing. And she's like, well, now I have motivation to do it.
Yeah, I that's my own personal. If someone says I can't do something, I'm like, oh, you want to bet? my partner, he's always like, I should use that to my advantage. He's like, but I feel guilty, so I'm not going to touch it. But
yeah, something what Raven was saying earlier is that, your book is a journey book, and her series is a journey series. And I was like, wait, my book's a journey series too. And
you got like a full on like on the road journey.
Yeah, and those were all our first series, right? And I was like, is there something about first time authors' first book series being those journey series? And what was it you were saying?
We're on our journey. So no matter, I think, what we write, it's going to be a quest, a journey, because we're on our own journey. So it's just getting right in there.
No, I just have "We're on the road to nowhere" from the end of like Reality Bites when they make the thing out of her. Yeah, we're on the road.
So I want to talk about the amazing audiobooks that you guys do together.
They are amazing, and that is on her.
Thank you. They're so much fun.
How did you get connected?
Actually, I contacted the people who were going to make my audiobooks, and they were like, oh, would you like Amber Benson to audition? And I was like, yeah. So, I mean, they had other people audition who were great. I mean, absolutely great. But then Amber read and she was Noosh. and I was just sitting there in shock, like my character's talking outside of my head. And as I'm actually working on book 4 now, as I write Noosh's lines, they are in Amber's voice.
I'm so sorry.
It is amazing and brilliant. You're actually making sure I don't ever mess up her lines, because you're just saying them. You got her. So yeah, it was luck of the draw. You were available.
They were like, do you want to, and I was like, well, what is this? Like, you don't tell you anything. They're just like, you're going to put yourself on tape for this. And then I was like, well, what is it? And they like started telling me what it was all about. And I was like, oh, this is totally up my alley. Yes. What do I have to sign? What do I have to say? I want to do this.
You're going to have to say a lot of random shit in foreign languages.
What was that audition like? Was there a lot of the words in there?
I feel like it was just like the beginning, right?
It was
so none of the complicated
first
stuff yet.
It was the prologue or the first chapter.
Yeah.
And so there was not yet a lot of the surprises to come.
No, it felt like you just wanted to make sure that, because this is Noosh's point of view, and these stories are from like sort of her take. I think you just wanted to make sure that she had the right tone, that she worked, that she made sense, and then we could go on the journey and make changes on everything else. But if Noosh was like locked in, then we were good.
Exactly.
Had they given you a heads up that it would have a lot of foreign languages in it? I don't think they mentioned that. They definitely said that there was some how did they put it? There was some erotic components.
just a little bit. Just some.
Tiny, you won't even notice.
Skosh.
Components. Erotic components.
Had you done books with erotic components before?
I had. Yes, I have pretended to do all kinds of things in audiobooks. Let's just say my family in Alabama is unaware of those books. We don't share those with them.
Had you done books with vampires before? I tried looking in your history and I couldn't find them. So tell me which ones.
Yeah. I had done stuff like with in that world a little bit, but I've done a lot of like fantasy and like witchy, magic-y sort of things.
But vampires specifically?
I mean, in the world, but maybe not like a full-on vampire series before.
So this was the first like big vampire
project. Yeah, this was the first big
did.
Vampire series. There were.
I'm honored.
Yeah. There were components of vampirism and other
components.
things.
It's all components. There's a little spice. There's history.
So there was some, but not a ton. A lot of magic. I do magic. I think it's the witchy.
Yeah.
The Terra. People are like, oh, Amber can float a rose. Let's see what she can do with some erotic witchcraft. Erotic witchcraft. That should be my new genre.
Yeah.
Just erotic witchcraft. And there's a lot of rose floating.
I'm in to rate that with you.
Yes.
So when was it sprung on you, all the language stuff?
Well, they sent the books, and so then I was able to read them, and then I was like, oh my God, there's so much I need to like buckle down and get. And so I researched, and you guys researched, and I Forvo, like other people from other countries pronouncing things for you. Like it's like it took a village.
How many different languages are there?
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I've counted. Let's see. In the first one, Romanian, Turkish, French. There's a line in Japanese. There's
like Catalan Spanish.
That's book 2.
Regular Spanish, Catalan Spanish.
Yeah, they're in Turkmenistan for a bit, but I don't think we actually hit that language. No, it's off the hook. And then of course there is the Amber language that I created.
Yep. Which I couldn't find on Forvo.
Yeah. When did they tell you I was going to send over pronunciation guides? Was it like a thank God at the last minute?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I had started researching on my own, was prepping everything, and then they were like, "Oh no, we got stuff," and I was like, I love Raven. She's the best. She got people to pronounce things in their own languages. Thank you, God. And Eli, who did the engineering, has a really, really good ear. So between him and Lauren, where are you? Hi, Lauren. They kept me honest. Like, if I didn't get it right, they'd be like, I think you need to do it again. So usually, like, audiobooks, you can get them pretty quickly. But we spent extra time to really make sure that the language made sense and sounded reasonable. I'm sure native speakers are like, Amber Benson can't speak Romanian worth poop.
Have you had any feedback from native speakers?
Not yet.
Well, actually, my Romanian editor and friend has heard the audiobooks, and she said you did a great job.
Oh, yay! I've been to Romania. You'd think I, got something rubbed off.
But I mean, you were imitating in the foreign language parts. I mean, maybe not in the English spoken with an accent, but you were directly imitating those lines, so you were okay.
Yeah, it was hard to do. And there were things I couldn't hear. It's so funny. Like, I get made fun of because I have a hard time with pen and pen. To me, they just sound the same. Pin and pen. I don't know, it's the Southern in me. And I literally can't hear it when I say it. And people are like, no, do you want a pen? Or are you putting somebody in a pen? What are you doing? But it just, and I think there are just some things that just, you don't hear it because you're not a native speaker. So,
okay, I'm not going to put tonal languages in the book then. No tonal languages.
No throat singing, no tonal languages. No, it was fine. No, we made it work. We just did it until we got it right. And that's all you can do, right?
What was your favorite part of recording her books?
My favorite part?
So far.
Honestly, I just love, the main character, Noosh. I love her insights into things and the way that she sort of looks at the world and her sense of humor. When I'm in, the internal Nooshness, it's just so much fun. It just flows. I just really like how she speaks and how she thinks. And it's really fun to just have those noosh-centric moments. Those are my favorite.
And Raven, which part that you heard that she did just blew you away? Which was your favorite?
I mean, that first audition was pretty spectacular, where it was just I kind of get my dream to come true. This isn't bad, but this is perfect. But then I think actually as we rolled into the first sex scene, I was like, is she really going to do this?
Oh, I commit. Lauren, I commit.
And yeah, we were just, every tab A into slot B was in perfect detail. And I was just like, we're doing this. And then as we came up to hard bits and you were just flowing through it, and I was just, every part is good. When they send them to me to do the QC, I just get to take a couple days off and just be enjoying my book in a way that I'm not sure many authors ever get to do. It is a joy. Just the whole thing is a joy.
All right, I'll give you $20 later.
Yeah. No, because I'm going to have to give it back because of the stuff you've said already.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes left, it looks like. So we're going to open to some questions. And if you ask a question, you get a prize, which is a book.
See, we got someone there already with hand up.
So you mentioned your love of mythology. I was wondering what or who is your favorite mythological character, and what story is your favorite from mythology?
Oh, man.
Well, when I was 8 years old, I was absolutely convinced that the job of the goddess Athena was open, and that was what I would be doing as an adult. It was what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was the goddess Athena. So, she's obviously my favorite.
Oh, man, that's a hard one. Oh, man. I've read so much from so many different mythologies, and there's so many great stories. And when I talk about mythology, I include the Grail lore in that for me. And I love all of the sort of in search of the Holy Grail stuff, the Knights of the Round Table. But then I think is it Gawain who goes and meets the Green Knight. Thank you. So the Green Knight. I think that to me, thank you. And it was Gawain. Yes. This idea of like, being in search of going on a quest. For me, the Grail stuff. And then of course I saw, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and I'm like, but that's what I want to do. And that, all of that was amazing. So yeah, I like all the Grail lore stuff. Lancelot and Guinevere and all of that, insanity and yeah.
That's a really cute story about you as Athena. My daughter's name is Persephone.
Aww.
And so far, she's 6. She thinks she is still going to grow up and be the real Persephone, and I don't have the heart to tell her.
Let her have that for as long as she can.
Thank you for the question.
So, can you share like any funny moments that you have? Sorry for my accent. So,
we like accents around here.
I mean.
Can you share any funny moments that you like share behind the scenes while you record the audiobooks, or something that you will always not forget? Like, oh my God, this in my mind was something really funny that you can share. I don't know.
Sorry, you're like, be funny. Tell me funny stories. You're like the 11-year-old in my life. She's like, tell me funny stories from when you were a kid. I don't know if I want to share some of these. I don't want to give you ideas. Well, so Lauren was videoing all of the, like, she videoed the whole thing. And there were moments when I was doing, I guess, weird faces during some of the erotic components. And at one point I was like, this is for posterity. People are going to see me making like, oh my God, faces through the whole book. So there is tape of me having to say and do some pretty raunchy, awesome things, making faces, and I'm just waiting for that to hit the internet. And I didn't think about it. I was just like going with it. I was like, oh, I should, but I forget. The video camera, whatever, it's there. And I trust them, so I'm actually not worried about it. But yeah, there's video of me making all kinds of erotic faces while I'm going, oh my God, rah, 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 So maybe that'll be on the director's cut of the audiobook. But other funny moments. Funny moments, Lauren. What do we? Oh, what's your funny moment? Hi.
My funniest moment was when you first did the first erotic scene, and then you turned to me and Lauren, and you were like, was that sexy? Does he sound sexy? And I'm just sitting there like, yeah.
Do I need to do it again? Yeah, I think you should do it. Do it again.
Over at our booth, we have a little snippet of you doing it, not the faces, and it's some cuts of you doing some bits, and then we just get this part where you've obviously just finished the prologue maybe, and you just kind of sit up and you're like, okay, everybody, strap in. It's gonna be a bumpy ride, and I've heard that so many times now. So if you guys stop by the booth, you can watch Amber have that incredible moment.
Yeah, you can see me quoting all about Eve.
You can also get free stuff if you stop by their booth by joining their mailing list.
Yes,
we have a wheel and win a prize.
We have a wheel you can spin. It makes such a great sound when you spin it. So please stop by because we love hearing that sound.
Thank you for your question.
You in the yellow.
So you mentioned that you love Arthurian tales. So if you were to imagine Tara in an Arthurian situation, do you think she would get along with characters like Nimue and Morgan Le Fay and the Green Knight and stuff like that? Or like how do you think she would behave within that universe?
She spent a lot of time like doing magic from like behind the doorway. So I think she would try and like help with some of the more intense stuff, but I think she might be hiding behind somebody while it's happening. I was always like, can't she just like go do something? Like, and they finally let me once. But I was like, why am I always in the doorway doing magic from the doorway?
We heard before she got her confidence.
Yeah. But yeah, she was. I just remember one specific. I'm like in the magic box, and I'm like, there's a big fight. I'm like, why am I in the doorway? Like, it's not an earthquake. It's friggin' magic.
I think we have time for maybe 2 more questions.
Thank you for the question.
Hey, what's up? You have the sexiest haircut, by the way, and I'm so loving that you just came from a protest from the Bureau of Queens. Thank you. I have a serious question. Due to your love of mythology, bouncing off of you, how does a woman on Earth become a goddess from your research?
Oh man, how does a woman on Earth become a goddess? Well, I think we're all goddesses, really. I mean, yeah. But if you want to be like a goddess, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know why my mind is going to this ridiculous movie, like Movie of the Week with Vanna White, where she plays Aphrodite, the goddess of love. But I feel like to become a real goddess, some sculptor needs, or some like stonemason needs to like make you like the Aphrodite version of you, like some big like stone like sculpture of you. Yeah, and then it will like come to life. That's my take on how you become a goddess. From the the late 80s, early 90s, bad television.
Since I never made it as the goddess Athena, or at least not yet, I cannot help you. But if you want to figure out how to become a vampire, I gotcha.
Do you have any idea how you become a goddess?
Yeah. I mean, I do have a slight idea off of the TV series The Magicians. A key character, Julia, became a goddess by doing some incredible act for these living trees.
Yes, I remember that.
I remember that too. Yeah.
And that got me thinking, because I went to Greece last week. The last 2 weeks, just flew back.
I'm very jealous of you.
I started thinking, like, why is everyone calling me a goddess? Is it the new hair? Like, so like, I started thinking, maybe I could become one if I did some incredible act. So I thought, since your research was like thorough, maybe you had a little tip.
I think translating from the mortal to the immortal never comes without a lot of pain.
And sacrifice.
So sacrifice. So like there may be a path, but it's not going to be an easy one.
And I can't imagine being immortal. Like, mortality, like, is scary, but it's also like it's finite and beautiful in its finiteness. You know what I mean? Like, if you lived forever, things would not be as special and precious. So
that's why you're a witch and not a vampire.
Also, like, have to give up everything you have as a human, like
relationships. I would think so.
Like, you can't.
Yeah, if you're gonna be a goddess, you gotta go to.
Hey, but life's about evolution, so we'll see what happens.
Good luck on that quest.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I like the esoterica.
Okay, one last question.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Hi. So one of my, I'm a huge fan, by the way. Love you, and I'm very interested. I'm very curious about the book and everything.
I look forward to you stopping by and talking.
I'm so excited. I love everything that I wish Tara had a longer arc. But I'm curious with this book, what are some of your favorite arcs, and just in terms of the writing, what I guess was enlightening or exciting about exploring the arcs that you did in the book?
Oh, that's interesting. These are very thoughtful.
Yeah, we've got a really good group in here.
Well, that's the thing about Buffy fans.
Yeah.
They are so smart. We have very, very smart fans.
So actually, this series is going to be at least 9 books, and all of the arcs are 3-book arcs, so that I have a good long time to let those characters develop and work through all the things they work through, which is, of course, usually pretty painful. So I love arcs, and yeah, we did not have enough of a Tara arc at all. I agree with you. For me, arcs are really an integral component of storytelling. So that's why I've actually set this up to have all the arcs take place over 3 novels and then sometimes side novellas and stuff, so that there's proper room to have chewy, powerful arcs. So the first 3 have been written, and the first arc is complete, and Noosh completely transformed from who she was in the beginning of book 1 and to the end of book 3. And I love that I've been able to do that. Noosh and I have, and Amber have been able to go on that journey and really do it right. So thank you for that question.
I find that like something that always interests me is this idea of wanting to be normal and not accepting that like there are things that make us all special and unique and powerful. And so for me, like a lot of the arcs that I've written about are about a woman who's like got this special thing, like she's a witch or her family is dead, whatever it is, this magical special thing. And all she wants to do is just be normal. And so the arc is then, well, no, being normal is fine, but like being normal is not being normal. There is no normal. And so, the arc is always, how do I accept the power inside of myself that makes me special and unique? And that's the journey that I've enjoyed writing a fair amount. And so I assume it has something to do with my own personal issues, because writing is always therapy. Therapy, the gift I give myself every week. Highly recommend, everybody. So yeah, I like that arc. That arc is very interesting to me. The self-acceptance and the owning of power and of the thing that makes you special, because that's a journey we all have to go on, because we are all special. We are all unique and magical and powerful. We just have, some of us had it beaten out of us a little bit. We just have to go on the journey to find it again. Thank you for your question.
Thank you both for a wonderful panel, and thank you all for coming. You can go to the dealer's room to see the books for yourself.
Thank you for moderating.
Yeah, thank you. Those were great questions.
Thank you all for coming out.
Really great.
Thank you.